All right, we'll open the meeting at 6 o'clock. Just the minutes. All right, public comment, Richard.
What's the thing you were asking for more money for plowing?
Yep.
Why?
Because the bids came over the budgeted amount.
Did we get any bids?
We got bids, yes. The plow bids have been discussed at the last 3 or so meetings, and we just concluded a special town meeting to approve the expenditure.
So are you guys hiring somebody? You guys got somebody?
Yep.
Okay. Who is it?
Chad.
Of course. Most of your problem in this town is Brian Turner. A lot of people won't put in for bids. You got Brian Turner in this town. And you know that. Oh.
Is that your comment?
Yeah, that's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Public comments closed. Next up is select board reports. Sue?
Let me just switch my windows here. So we talked about meeting before last. So every yearly session, reviewing and updating or whatever, and approving our rules of order. I just wanted to, so we don't lose sight of that. Maybe that's something we can put on the agenda for next meeting.
Elena?
Oh, is she muted? Hold on. There she is. Oh, can't hear you.
Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you very well.
Okay. I was just mentioning that next meeting, you should put on the agenda to review, update, and approve our meeting rules of order.
Okay.
Okay. Elena, I'm going to mute you, and when you want to talk, just kind of wave, just because there's a lot of background noise there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I think Elena will talk about the DOT. I'll let her address it when she does her report, but we talk about DOT fellow coming up and looking at the roads, and I had a question because there's a lot of tire burnouts, especially on Elliotsville Road, and I just was curious if that's doing any damage to the road service. So I'll let Elena speak to that when she goes over. And that's it.
All right, thanks, Sandra.
Everything I wanted to talk about is already on somebody else's list, so we're good.
All right, thanks. Elena, I just had some questions about the status of posting the old videos on YouTube. Or I guess you can answer that maybe, or anybody.
Yes, Jade has been working on taking them off of the cloud, or whether is she taking them off?
She's taking them out of one part of the cloud and putting them in another.
Sandra came in and showed her how to do it, and I believe she's got most of everything that was in the cloud that on there, and then we're gonna create a link to
the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're working on it.
Yeah,
we do have a Town of Monson YouTube channel that's set up.
Okay.
By Elena, not Elena. Jade.
How about has there been any additional progress from the DOT partnership initiative?
Yes, actually, he just emailed me today just because he said not to discuss it in a public meeting yet, because there's some there could be issues if potential bidders saw it or something. So I'll just forward you guys the email, and then we could probably talk about it in our next meeting. And he said he could actually join us in our next meeting to go over it.
Okay, great. And then we were planning to have material prepared today so that we could schedule a date for the ATV stakeholder meeting. Are we in a position to do that?
And I'll speak up for that if you want, Elena. When we met last week, you know, you weren't privy to that conversation, we had the minutes for that. We talked about there was so much on Elena's plate right now that maybe we just kind of push that ahead a little bit. It's the end of this ATV season coming. So I don't know how, you know, how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
A wintertime project.
Yeah.
Like that would.
Very good. Okay. And then the other thing was to bring up the idea of moving our meetings from twice a month to once a month. And if that is of interest to the board, Elena and I spoke about it. I would like to do that. I think she'd like to do that.
Yes, definitely.
It doesn't matter to me what that date is.
Is there any other business that we would have to get done more frequently, like signing?
Accounts payable is the only thing. When we had once a month meetings, that was kind of hard and things went late. There were late charges, you know, so if we could make it so that, you know, we could still do the accounts payable, and whether you guys stop in at your leisure and sign the warrants, I can let you know, you know, maybe I can start doing accounts payable weekly. That was how it used to be. And then just, we can pick a day where I could do that, and then you guys could just come in on that day at your leisure and sign the warrants, at least 3 of you. Then that would be great.
Yeah. Any preference on when? Well, I mean, is that of interest?
Yeah, that's fine. I would say second Tuesday, Thursday, second week of the month.
And do you think we need a longer meeting? You know, if there's.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had a lot of these meetings where we don't really have much on the agenda, right? I think that, you know, plowing was the top agenda item, and the other stuff, we need to make.
And we can always have an additional special
right.
meeting. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so second Thursday.
I would go with the second Thursday, personally. Yeah.
Okay.
Beginning in October. This is September. Or do we have to give notices?
No, I mean, we can set the schedule. Yeah. So this would mean, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's anything that we need to meet on specifically in the next.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So starting from now, so the next meeting would be the second Thursday in October.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for me. Bicentennial Committee. Oh, sorry. No, I keep skipping you. Town manager report.
Okay, so can you guys hear me? Okay. So I did meet with the Pete from DOT last Tuesday, I do believe, and he went around some of the roads with me, and we looked at the Douglasstream Road, Bears Falls Road, Burke Road, and he said that he was going to just drive around and look at some of the other roads, because I specifically was looking for feedback on gravel roads. And he said that he was going to be emailing me his recommendations, and I've spoke to him twice and he still has not emailed me his recommendations on that piece of it. And I did talk to him a little bit about the intersection of the North Guilford Road, and he said that where we're already working with Matt for the downtown piece of it, that he suggests just leaving that the way it is, because that's already part of a bigger project. And then he talked about the software that a lot of towns use for road plans, and that the town actually already purchased it. And so I'm going to look at it when I get back to the office to see if it's on the computer already and if there's any information already put into there. But he said that he could help me start there, and that there's a bridge guy who can come up and help me, or not me, the town, make decisions on what to do about gully Brook Bridge because it was just, we had an inspection earlier in the spring before this became my real job. I just remember seeing it. And he told me that it's now posted for a certain amount. I think it's like 22 tons, which is still a significant amount. But he said that sometimes, depending on what is wrong with the bridge, a bridge could go out in a year. So it could go from posted to not even passable. So he said that just having somebody come out and give us a good idea as to how long can we get away with not doing maintenance to it, or what do we need to do to make it so that that doesn't happen to us, especially because there's to go all the way around would be awful. And let's see, what else did he say? He's also hosting the class that Marty and I are taking in October, called Snow and Ice Control. And it's a free class and it's only half a day. And that's in Bangor. So we'll be doing that. And he said that he'll put me in all the classes that have openings that are in the area that have something to do with that. He feels like it's a huge thing for Monson right now. So meeting with him was super beneficial. Let's see, what else did I have?
Elena, can you talk about what he said about the burnouts in the road?
Oh, yes. So he said that unfortunately it happens way more than it needs to. But the thing to look for if it's causing damage is go out and look at the marks after it rains, because water will sit in the lowest spot. So if those marks are indenting into the pavement and causing any damage, the water will sit there and they'll be wet the longest. So he said that typically it doesn't happen and you shouldn't really have to worry about it, but if it does, then it is damage of property and you could potentially go after whoever is doing it if you can find who they are and that. So
Elena, is that something Steve can check out?
Yeah. And when I come back to the office, and I'm sure if Marty sees him, she could just mention it too. And it's something that I can check out if I'm there after it rains, or but yeah, I'll send Steve down to see what he thinks about it too.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Town committee reports, bicentennial committee.
Nothing new,
All right.
just what we've got planned.
Yep.
Which we already talked about.
Very good. Beautification.
Likewise, nothing new.
All right. Old business snowplow contract. So the bid was previously accepted. The town meeting has taken place. Now we believe just need to authorize Elena to sign the contract. Anything else on your mind that we should discuss as part of this?
Nope, I don't believe so, but I do believe that so this actually gets signed by the select board.
Oh, okay.
One second, where's the one? Did I give you
This
the
is
one?
the
Okay,
latest
yeah,
one, yeah.
that's probably. Or I expected Chad to be here, but he's actually signed this one. I don't know if you want to sign this one or that one.
This one, that one
has the
date. Then this does the new date, right?
Yeah,
So
it does.
You can go ahead. I just want to peruse it, or am I holding you up?
we'll sign this before moving on.
Okay.
Are they the same except for the dates?
Yeah,
I'll show you.
one
I'll show
day.
you what this change is. It's year of. Oh, this one actually is the right date. And, oh no, this is correct. So he filled in that. And then he, or whatever, this is the correct
That's
thing.
all right one?
Yeah, so we can sign this one.
Okay.
And then you can read it if you want.
It's pretty much the same as.
I've already looked at it. We haven't made any other changes other than that, right? Okay.
Is that the new one or?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference in these two?
Oh, is this the date of the?
Do you know, school didn't
The optional extension
that person?
amount,
Uh,
because it was previously blank
Oh,
here.
okay.
And then it was, this had previously said 2022.
I'll get
It
the
just hadn't been updated. This is
Oh,
the page prior.
double checking. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't like spending more money, but I'm glad that's signed.
Time to move on. All right, new business is Recreation Committee appointment and oath.
And Marty's gone to create that. Krista Vanio attended the rec committee meeting last week. Actually, she was the only person who attended besides myself and Elena. But she's very enthusiastic and wants to be part of the committee. And I said, not a problem. We'll make that happen. So Marty's just getting the paperwork together, but I suppose we could vote on that.
I think
Well,
we
we
just
just
need to sign it, yeah.
Sign,
All right,
okay.
so while she's doing that, then what's,
Yeah.
so the other item is the Efficiency Maine EV charging grant.
Yes. So I've been thinking about that. Good idea.
Yeah, so the MMA in their monthly newsletter that came out, on somewhere on it, there was a posting that Efficiency Maine is offering grants to small towns like ours to put in EV charging stations. And I just didn't want to let that get too far ahead and we would be out of the process. So is that something we want to do?
I think we want to do it. There's quite a bit of information required on the application. I took a look
You
at
look
it.
at it, okay,
Like, where is it gonna go?
right,
First thing.
right. Because that was one of the, you know, the wish list
Right,
yeah.
for the Monson Collaborative and people in the town in their surveys.
There aren't many charging stations in Piscataquis County.
Right, the location is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, and we're working with them on that.
So this is an extension or a renewal of an existing program that Efficiency Maine had before. And then also CMP had a similar program. And so when we maybe 2 years ago, we're working through this, we opted to use the CMP program. Just the CMP program was basically to pay for work other than the chargers, and the Efficiency Maine program is to pay for the chargers.
Okay,
We don't need to go into the details of why we didn't move forward before, but this is it's a good program. It doesn't cover everything, so there is out-of-pocket expense. Basically the amount that the grant will cover does not cover all the. I think there's a limit of like a certain percentage, but if there are other criteria that are met, then that percentage can go up and there are extra adders. So there is a adder for involving your public library. And so one of the space that we were looking at was up by the bandstand, which is on the town side of that parking lot. So we could look at doing that and seeing if that would count as the library, because it's a different property, but it's the same general area.
Parking lot.
Alternatively, we could see if Libra would be open to us using 2 of the parking spaces or however many we want over there on the other side that's closer to the library. And if that's the case, you actually, if you can incorporate the library, then you get an extra like $2,000, I think, toward each charger. So I think what we should do if in agreement is direct Elena to confirm if that town-owned portion of the parking lot would qualify as library associated. I'm sure the library would be happy to participate in this as a partner, and then we would need to figure out what we would need for funds in order to make this happen. So reaching out to Efficiency Maine to confirm the library piece, and then reaching out to some installers to get quotes on that work.
Is there a reason why it has to be the tennis court side of the parking lot? Could it be on the library end of the parking lot?
Well, the town doesn't own that side of the parking lot.
So can Monson Collaborative through the downtown affiliate program pursue any grant that would cover some of the other charges? Or
so the other charges could be part of the resiliency grant, for example.
True.
Or it could be, it would be something outside of the existing funding, but yes, that group could also look into it. Yeah, actually, the information that came up was, I guess it was a link that you emailed, but, or that somebody emailed, but I actually got a separate email today from Maine Community Foundation about this program as well. So it's on their radar.
So perhaps there would be no outlay. Everything could be covered by grants, ideally. If there is some expenditure required, how much, you have any idea ballpark wise of what?
I think it's safe to budget about $10,000 per charger. Okay. Yeah, so probably $3,000 or $4,000 from the town per unit. Okay. Could be a fraction of that, could be a bit more. Right. Say, but. Does that make sense, Elena? If you can reach out to confirm whether the town-owned portion of the parking lot would be eligible for the library adder, and to reach out to some installers on the Efficiency Maine list for price quotes.
Yep, I can do that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
Are we done with that topic?
Yeah, so,
okay. You mentioned library, and it brought something to my mind, and Tyler, I think you were on the board back in this day, but the library is no longer a town entity, right? They're their own. Okay, that's what I thought, because Mike Decker was reaching out today and needing a letter, and I read what they had said to him, and I told him I don't think you do need the letter. I said double check with Tom just to be sure, and then he wrote back saying, and he sent me their response, and their response is, oh, we just need something, you know, just stating that they're aware that you're doing it as a town entity. And I just I was pretty sure I remembered that they're not a town entity, but I just wanted to bounce it off somebody else. I'm like, who can I ask?
Yeah, he reached out to me about some other info for that, so I'll clarify with him as well.
Okay, he just doesn't need the letter.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
If anything, it would just be a letter of support from the town more generally, not for...
Well, they were pretty specific about the entity thing. So yeah, we could certainly do a letter of support, but there was much more than that. So if you tell him that if it's just a letter of support that he would like or need, or, you know, but it seemed to me in their email to him that he just doesn't need a letter if they're their own entity.
All right, we'll confirm with him.
All right.
All right, in that case, I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, everyone on computer. We're going to end your meeting.
Was there anybody out there besides Gloria?
Yeah,